Hey everyone, welcome back. And this week, Bill and I are so excited because our friend Sam Eckerson from Orlando, Florida is hanging out with us. Hey Sam, how are you?
Hey, Christie, how are you?
Good. So Sam is one of the agents I met through our BNI connections, and I've
Yep.
talked about this before. Bill and I are in a BNI chapter here in Phoenix, Arizona, and Sam, the realtors through BNI have monthly phone calls, and we actually meet in person twice a year. Sam is one of the first agents I met when I connected with this group, and he is out of Orlando, Florida. Now, there are a lot of agents in Orlando, and
Crazy.
in Florida in general. Florida's got like 220,000 agents or something,
I think
right?
it's 227,000 in the state.
227,000.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wow.
40,000 in Orlando.
40,000. And that's
wow.
crazy because we have about 70,000 licensed agents that are residential
Mhm.
real estate, probably about 40 or 50,000 do business. So just as many in the whole state of Arizona are in Orlando. So
Yeah,
that's pretty
totally.
crazy. But Sam is definitely one of my favorites. So that's a huge plus. And if you ever need someone in Orlando, we got you covered. So that's why we have
Right.
Sam here today. We want to talk a little bit about his business because he's super entrepreneurial. His family, his mom's had a real estate property management company for a lot of years from
Yep.
Minnesota. And he spread his wings when he first got into the business. He didn't just take over his mom's business and move forward. He did his own thing and he's created this Eckerson team there in Orlando that's very well known and they are an outstanding group.
Yep.
He is a true networker at heart. I know I'm connected. This guy, whole other level. So glad you're here. Now, we have some questions about Orlando,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
because we're part of that Sun Belt along with you, right? Like
Yep.
people move to the places they want. Now, the thing you guys have over us is you are surrounded by water.
That's true. That's true.
But
It,
Orlando is not right next to a beach.
Correct. Correct.
Orlando is well known for Disney
Disney
World,
World.
That's right.
SeaWorld, Epcot
That's right.
Center.
It's my backgrounder. There we go.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
right.
his entire background.
exactly.
That's
All
right.
right, so but what do we not know about Orlando? Like, because I'm gonna assume that not everybody moves there just to be near
Sure.
Universal or Disney. So, what are the things happening in Orlando that we need to know about?
Sure. Well, I think the first thing is people think Florida, a lot of people think hurricanes and the weather. But the thing with Orlando that I like is it's like an hour and a half from either coast. So we
Oh,
don't get that water surge. But literally, we'll go to the beach for 2 hours, 3 hours, because it's an hour away. We literally can go there. It's a straight shot to either coast. And
okay.
so that's something that a lot of people don't know is just where we're located. They think directly that we're on the beach and we're just not. We're more inland, but that's why it's central. So that's one thing that people moving here that if they're scared of hurricanes, which I understand, and they don't like the sharks or they don't like that, they can go inland and there's options there as well. So that's one thing for sure. I don't know people know kind of location. That's why the
Oh.
pin. That's why the let's see. Okay, there we go. That's why the pin in my background is there because that's where I'm
Oh,
located.
yes, in the middle. Yes. Well, Bill and I are gonna say we love sharks because that name
Yeah,
comes
right.
from.
Of
I don't
So we
care. It
love
course.
the
doesn't scare
sharks.
me. Doesn't scare me. So I think that's one thing. And the other thing I would just say too, just overall the market is I know we'll probably get into this because we're tourist capital of the world. There is so much diversity of type of property you can get,
Oh.
whether it's short term, long term, primary residence, zoning, the different zoning. It's so diverse that I've never, I mean, being from Minnesota, it's not like that up there.
Hmm.
And so the different types, I mean, you can have something zoned short term, right across the street is long term, and then right across the other side of the street is only primary residence. And it can be different depending on what side of the street you're on or what area.
So it's interesting because we had some legislation going through here in Arizona where they
Yeah,
were looking at something similar, where they were looking at making specific homes like almost have a lottery for if they wanted a short-term rental or not. But some of the concerns that Arizona Association of Realtors had was, well, does that add value to one home versus another? So if home over here can do short-term rental, but yours
sure.
can't. So how do you guys
Yeah.
see that there? Like what, and maybe because you do have way more tourists than we do, you have we have winter visitors and stuff, but all year round you guys are busy, like all
Correct.
year round. So
Correct.
your market is a little different. So how does that classification of different properties but very close in proximity, does that have any effect on value or housing or anything in your area?
It does, but I would say it has been, I would say Wild West, but technically Wild East here. And it is, yeah, it's been crazy that they are working on regulation because a lot of the things that's happening is you'll get Susie and the Smiths coming from the Midwest coming down here, and they're like, oh, I'm buying this house and it's great, and there's no HOA here. They don't want an HOA. They want to mow the lawn. They want to take care of it. That's great. But from an investment standpoint, some people take, well, there's no HOA. I can do whatever I want with my property.
Mhm.
So then they're like, well, I'm going to rent it out. The Smiths family have little kids, and they're like, wow, my next door neighbor rented out short-term rentals and a bunch of partiers, bunch of college kids, and there's a lot of liability there. So a lot of counties are doing regulation that people would come down here from, like I said, wherever, the Midwest or wherever, and they're just surprised on what they expect or what happens. And so regulation is coming down to prevent that, just to set expectations. Like
Yeah.
this is the zoning, what it can be. But then also back in 08, 09 during the crash, there were a lot of like hotels that were converted to condo hotels that now the instead of having an apartment, now the room is for sale. They're called condo-hotels here, condo hotels.
Yeah.
And so there's so many different types of different properties and that's what I tell people. I say, I just ask people, what's your goal? Like when you say, wow, that's relaxing, that's family, that's ideal to me, what does that look like? And then I point them in the direction of that community that they're looking for. It
Gotcha.
really just depends on, there's places that are rural. There's people that are like, I don't like alligators. And I'd say, well, if there's a pond in your backyard, there's going to be an alligator at some point in your, no matter what, no matter what.
You don't have a
So
We
it's
choice.
found
like,
out about scorpions. They got whole giant
Right.
alligators.
right. So it's like, so I just tell them, I said, it doesn't matter to me, but what is that goal to you? What does the ideal living situation look like? What's the goal of the property? Is it just pure money and it's just pure run numbers? Or are you going to live there a couple months out of the year? Like, what is that goal? So I think that's the biggest thing, like coming down here is just having that strategy. Like, what does that look like? Is your goal to be close to Disney? Some people are like, oh, I want to be a mile from Disney. I'm like, are you sure? You can do that, but traffic's going to be crazy. And you're going to pay top
Really?
dollar to be close to Disney. And again, it doesn't matter to me either way. It's just like, think through that. Or you want to be stuck in traffic for 45 minutes and it's a parking lot. Like, you could do that. Sure. Like,
A mile away from Disney has that much traffic?
if you can find anything,
Wow.
for
I
sale.
bet you that's all snagged up. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so it just depends. And some people literally, Christy, it's crazy. Some people are like, I love Disney. And then literally the exact opposite. People are like, I hate Disney, don't want anything close by. I just like the weather. And I'm like, doesn't matter to me. And again, I don't get into all of that. I'm just like, you tell me, I'll find that spot for you. And so that's more so for me. Yeah.
Talk about diversity. So you have everything from short-term rentals, long-term rentals, people, single family, like you have everything there.
Here's the thing too. And all those zonings could be in one complex as well. You can do all three of those in one complex.
That's the craziest thing to me. Like that does feel like the Wild West back east.
Well, yeah, it's
Wild East.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, at least so it's just I just really have to be upfront with people and ask them not tough questions, but just real questions like, what does that look like to you? Because then depending on financing and what communities will allow and what do they want and do they want to hire a property manager and like people don't realize that like yeah you have HOA and if you want to rent it out then you have a property manager you're paying too and just like explaining the cost there and it's like or do you want to some communities you have to use a property manager other ones or you want some you can use any property manager other ones you have to use that one that they select for you whether you like it or not.
Oh.
So it's like you tell me what you want and then we'll find that property but just know you just got to tell me be like specific of what you're looking for and we'll find that for you. Some people want to be hands off, some people want to be hands on and they want to do everything themselves. None of that is wrong. It's just how can I help you? I'll find the property, I'll point you in the direction that you want.
And I'm going to assume there are neighborhoods that really don't have that. And so a regular buyer or seller who just wants to live there normally, and I say normally meaning like
Absolutely.
go to work, do their regular thing, like, not be stuck in traffic. Like there, you have that too.
Absolutely.
So that people don't have to worry that potentially their neighbor, because I'm assuming there are HOAs in some areas that don't allow any short-term rentals.
Correct. There are, I tell people here in Central Florida, if there's a newer built within the last 6 to maybe 10 years, but for sure 6 years, it's probably going to have an HOA no matter what, unless it's a custom home, but that's more and more rare. You're going to have an HOA. You're just going to. And HOAs can vary from $20 a month to $1,200 a month. It just depends what you want. Like, what you get. Like, there's houses that are 10 bedrooms, 10 bath, and have a bowling alley in them, and they're $4 million.
I want
Right?
that house.
Or you can, and those are short-term rentals. It's a community called Reunion, Champions Gate area, and they're on 2 or 3 golf courses. It just depends what you want. And then there's ones that are more rural that are half an hour from Disney. It's between the ocean, St. Cloud, Kissimmee, different areas. Davenport, just a few where it's a little bit more rural and a little bit more country, and you can get 2 acres and go from there. So it's really diverse. So that's again, moving cross country, it really helped me because I knew the questions people were going to ask because I asked them.
Yes.
Right?
Mhm.
I had to learn every road. I had to learn where schools, where the grocery stores are. I had to learn everything. I didn't know anybody but my family. Now I've been here since 2015, and a lot of those questions have been answered. But I know what I tell that to people. I'm like, I can lament with you. I got movers on call because I know what it's like. I have insurance.
Yes.
I had to figure all that out. I tell people again because of BNI, not only do I have a do call list, like these are the vendors I use, I have a do not work with list as well. Because
Yeah.
I had to vet everybody. I didn't know anybody, like anything. So I'm like, well, that was a
Mhm.
good experience. They're going on my do not work with list. And I give that out from time to time if people have questions.
That's cool. I love that. The do not call list.
Yeah,
Literally. And I know,
Well,
Bill,
it's all
can you
about the
imagine having-
connections,
It
and
is.
it's all about who you vet too, because you're the true professional, right? So like that's what you establish yourself as. It's you take care of your clients just like it was your own family. So that's awesome.
that's right. That's right. Oh,
I
one
don't
thing,
think I can. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just say one thing I do too is I've been working with a lot of pilots because we're
Oh,
so here to the Orlando airport that I work with a lot of pilots. I just sold one last week. And so some people will commute. They might work for an airline, but it may not be in Orlando, and they actually have to fly to where they're out of and stuff. And so I work with a lot of different pilots as well. So that's something that I do as well.
and out here we have a hub for Southwest. We have a lot of Southwest crews out here, and similar
Yeah,
to you, they may have to fly out of Vegas as their home, but
correct.
they are here in Arizona. But they
Correct.
can, because, and it's not like they have to stay in that for long. Sometimes it sounds like they change around a lot. So
Yeah.
that's Bill. Can you imagine having to do condo hotels if you were here as a lender?
It makes
That'd
my
be fun.
head hurt
I
already
don't.
just hearing it.
I know. I don't know if we'd ever have that because I remember, like, I have my license in South Carolina. I One of the things I remember a lot because we were looking to buy a property there was the condo hotels were very hard to get lending on. And to your point about the property manager, the condo hotel, like they had the property manager. So if you wanted to rent it, it was
That's right.
their group of people that needed to do it
That's right.
for you.
Well, too, there's different ones that I've sold in, is that the condo might be, a lot of times are 1 bedroom, 1 bath, or 2 bedroom. Like you can get smaller ones. And sometimes those are good for pilots who are in and out and they just want it just to stay there, like a second residence. But they'll have a property manager in-house and it'll be like a concierge service, and it might be $500 a month, and you get all these things. You get a front desk, all these things. Then if you don't use it, you can have your own, but then you can't use any of that. So
Okay.
they almost are like, I wouldn't say coercing you, but they're incentivizing you to use
Incentivizing, that's a much better word.
to use their systems that are
Yeah.
in-house, but it might be more costly. So are you looking to net the most money, or are you looking for convenience?
Right.
Sometimes they're one and the same, but a lot of times they're not. And it's just that's why I tell people, I'm like, it's so different. And then in the MLS, that like not every agent puts the HOA amount in there. So like
Mm.
so you don't always know what it all costs, or they put it incorrect. And sometimes they're paid monthly, sometimes they're paid annually, sometimes they're paid quarterly. And sometimes there can be, I've seen 3 HOAs. There could be 3 HOAs, 1 HOA. There can be a master policy, different things. So it's like just breaking that down for people that are not from a place that has HOAs, like it can be confusing. And again, I'll break it down for them, but it's what's your goal? That's what I just tell them. What's your goal? How can I help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out here in Arizona, we're super familiar with HOAs, and it's not unusual to have two, sometimes three in areas, especially like a
Yeah.
55 plus community, where you may have the rec center fees, you may have
Correct.
the secondary 55 plus community, and you may have the primary master plan community.
Correct.
So we're super
Yeah.
used to all these HOAs, and for the most part, HOAs here do command a little bit higher dollar because people don't want their house to be painted by, like, a pink purple polka dotted thing, and
Correct.
so, and sometimes there are challenges with people who rent out their properties the way they shouldn't according to the HOA, but
Yeah.
yeah, so here we're super familiar with how HOAs work, but
Are
Oh,
there
yeah.
really expensive ones too?
yes,
Well,
I
it
mean,
depends
like,
on what you're getting out of the property, right? Out of the area, right? So like, yeah, you'll see just like your price range is very similar to ours, where you'll see, $70 a month, $30 a month, and then you'll see a couple hundred for sure. And it just depends on the amenities that are there.
Yeah.
So
and if you go to like Scottsdale and you're looking at some condos, you're $1,500 to $2,000 a month
yeah.
for all the
Okay.
amenities in those
Sure.
condo complexes.
Sure.
So It just
And
depends.
most of those are going up because of the insurance. Insurance has been a big thing out here, and then on with lending, warrantability is what
Sure.
we always work with. So
Yeah. Our average here, like if you guys ever have people come here, our average is probably $200 to $300 a month.
Mhm.
That's what you'll see if there's an HOA. And typically that's if there's landscaping and pool.
mhm.
And then you get closer to 300 when there's like a gate and security. Those are kind
Yes.
of the
Yeah,
main things here. It's typically 200 to 300. Like
yeah,
if they're maintaining a pool and doing landscaping, you can just guess that. Yeah.
Yeah, that gate and tends to add a lot of money per month too.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
security,
It does.
those
yeah.
gated
The gates
communities.
always break. I'm just
And the gates always breaking. You
kidding.
never
True.
get those damn buttons to work. And I have the
Yeah.
codes. It's funny because when they started building in this area, the I guess they all chose to use the same gate code and never reprogrammed it. So it's like one gate code that gets you into like every gated community now in this area. It's
That's a
hilarious.
good hack. That's a good hack.
I know. I'm
There you
like,
go.
I always try the code. I'm like, there it is. It still works. Like no one's ever taken it out of the system. So
Crazy.
I know it's very funny. But okay, so we got the tourist stuff, and I have one other question.
Yeah.
So besides that, what is a common reason that people move to Orlando?
Yeah, yeah. So there's something called Medical City, which is Lake Nona, which is just south of the airport, and they have, a medical school there with the University of Florida. They have the Central Florida has been really, how do I say it, really intentional on diversifying from just the tourism. And a lot of that was because of COVID, right? Because a lot of it dried up in 2020, 2021. People couldn't go here. So a lot of short-term rentals things struggled. So they've been really intentional of building communities like they did in, I think it was in Austin, different places in Texas, that they built these tech hubs that are high level or high paying jobs that are engineering, tech, law, different, and they've been diversifying. There's another community here called Neo City that there's a long name for it, what they all do, but it's basically like sensors for phones, and they have machinery that are like literally a piece of equipment that are $3-4 million, one piece of equipment, and they have clean rooms. So it's literally Neo City in Kissimmee, and just really diversifying that. So higher end jobs are coming here. That starting pay is 80 to 120K, right?
Oh, okay.
And so they're trying to just do that because not everybody wants to be in hotel, drink, and work at
Yeah.
Disney or Universal, right?
No, that's true. And we had we had a challenge with for quite a while. Our industry was based off of tourism, and we have gotten better at tech and medical.
Yep.
So similar. It sounds like we're very similar in that situation. Now, I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the Villages, which is
Yep.
in Orlando. And the Villages, if
North, just north. Yep.
is probably one of the largest 55 adult communities that I think spans like 3 zip codes. And
Yeah, it's crazy.
and I've never been there. I have friends who have had family there, but that place just sounds nuts. Share a little bit about why has the Villages grown so much? Like what has created this space that so many people are so excited and it's gotten so big? Like what is the thing that's going on?
Yeah. I mean, it's known for being the 55 plus community, one of the top ones in Florida, right? All over Florida, people do that. And I think a lot of it too is just like all of Florida is, well, there's no state tax, but then people like to buy from people like themselves that they like, know, and trust. And it's almost all, there are parts of the Villages where you don't have to be 55, but most of it is 55 plus community, almost like
Oh,
the whole region is
oh,
55 plus. And so the thing that's interesting too with that area is that there's two different MLSs, one for people that like the village, like you're a licensed realtor with the villages area, and then there's one for other realtors that can sell. If there's a property within that part of the MLS, me as an outsider cannot sell in there. And
oh,
then that
Oh
realtor
wow.
can sell in other parts of the villages.
wow.
Yeah, so it's just knowing those things. I just have to ask people. So I've lost a couple of deals. I'm like, what spot do you want to be in? Doesn't matter to me either way, but it doesn't make sense to work with two realtors if only one of them is going to get paid. So I just
That
have to
seems
explain that to
almost
people.
anti-client to have that happen because you're creating a relationship with someone. Now, if well, I wonder what started that. Like, what was the main drive behind creating that separation?
There's somebody in my office who like lives there. I would love to ask, just like break that down. Like, what was the genesis of that? That I don't know because I'm
Yeah.
55 plus, so I'm not like there. I mean, I've told her I've helped people, but yeah, but it's kind of just those things. You kind of see a lot of that in Central Florida. Just oddities. You don't see in other places, but I think a lot of it is because we're tourist capital of the world. There's just different cultures, and there's different cultures in leadership and different ways of thinking that sometimes it's a little confusing. That
Yeah.
like why is it set up that way and all those things, and it's like same like with insurance stuff, like just knowing a good insurance person, like how to insure it, because if it's a condo or if it's a townhome, those could be different insurances or single family, depending on what it is. And if the HOA, like some HOAs cover the roof and some do not. And it's like, well, that's a different insurance policy. And obviously, the more coverage, the more expensive it's going to be. And
Mhm.
so that's where it's just so important, like with BNI, is just knowing people who have those connections that can answer those questions. And I hope you have the best experience in Central Florida and find a realtor. That's great. But I like to say the statistic, and Christy, I can't remember if we talked about this, but there's, over 2 million realtors in the United States. 74% of those realtors sold 0 homes.
Yes.
So it's like this, I would think the same is true in my area, your area, that
Mhm.
you want to work with a realtor that sold 0 homes. 3 out of
Right.
4, that's a good chance, and
Yeah.
probably even more so in Central Florida. So you want to know people that know the market. That's great if you want to work with a family friend, and that's good for you. But you want to make sure they know what they're doing, especially here in Central Florida with all these different restrictions. Because I mean, just to think, Christy, just think if you're going to buy a house and you thought it was zoned one way, short term or long term, and it's only zoned primary residence, and you cannot have any investments or do anything, rent it out at all. That's a problem.
That's a huge problem. Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And that's so important. And that's kind of why I love having my friends on from other parts of the country, because people don't know where to start all the time.
absolutely.
And even for people who I know who live in Orlando or in Florida, like if you know someone who, I don't care if you're moving down the block, if you're looking for an agent, always call Sam, because there's a high probability I'm going to help you find the exact right person
Absolutely.
that knows their stuff. Because I know the referrals I put out there, last thing I want to happen is the relationship with the person I referred to go wrong.
That's right.
So I'm always going to refer good people.
That's
And
right.
making these connections, I mean, we've known each other for years now. And it gets to the point where, like, I know your wife and your kids and your
Yeah.
dog. Like, I know all this stuff, right? And I think those are the things that benefit when people call us for those resources.
That's right.
And
Well,
BNI has been a huge help for us.
absolutely. Well, and two, like, I mean, I get friends or I get calls from friends. Like Laura Eklund calls me. She's like, "You're my contact for Florida, right?" And she's in California, Sacramento,
Mhm.
and she just, they'll refer us different areas and be like, "I know if you don't handle it, you're going to connect me with the right person who does." And
Exactly.
and so that's it. I want them to be successful no matter what, because I don't want my name to go through the mud or my friend's name. I want them to be successful no matter what, even if I don't get a dime on it. And I want to be that resource. And so, yeah, me and Jose, especially, we get calls all the time from
Mhm.
realtors all over the nation asking us who we know, what that looks like. And so just happy to help. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different rules here that are not the rest of the country. There just are. So you just got to be aware of those for sure.
Well, yeah, and I think one of the things I learned from this call most is because there is so much diversity there with property types and regulations and such, it is of key importance to find someone who has studied those things, experienced those, and knows exactly where to put you and in what place based on what your goals are.
That's
Because
right.
one of those things missing, like you said,
That's right.
can create big problems for you financially, for your family, for your as an investment, or living in a space. So thank you so much for being here. We're
Yeah,
so incredibly grateful. And
absolutely. This is
Yes.
great.
Thank you. It was very informative. I know that I got to call you now for Florida.
there
That's
you
right.
go.
Let me
Exactly.
know. I'm happy to help.
Exactly. Sam's information is going to be in the contacts if you have any questions, or if you love to talk sports. Sam is a big sports guy.
That's
His
right.
nickname is White
Heck
Chocolate
yeah.
because he is a
That's right.
basketball player. It's a super fun story, so make sure you reach out and ask him a question.
That's right. Happy to help.
If you're a BNI member, call Sam for a one-to-one. He is a great resource for anyone across the country. So thank you again for being here. We totally appreciate you and
Yeah,
hope you
thank you,
guys have
Sam.
a great week.
My pleasure. Thank you.